Hi there, my friends. My name is Jeremy Siskind. I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano, Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 1, and Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2. By the way, registration is open now for my remote jazz piano class via Fullerton College. So I'll put a link in the video notes or whatever you call it, description, so that you can check that out. What I want to talk about today is something that's bothered me about one of my books and a solution that I'm starting to find to teach a little bit better. So I bet this applies to you if you're interested in solo piano. So I do have this book, Playing Solo Jazz Piano, I'm very, very proud of. And it has this part, which I've never really seen in a jazz book before, that's all about shared hands voicings, right? Shared hands voicings, most often what we're doing on a ballad for a jazz pianist, right? If we're sharing the voicing between the hands, that's what we're doing. So if I'm playing Body and Soul, these are usually 5 or 6 notes, maybe sometimes 7 on a dominant chord. And you notice the melodies on top of the voicing, the bass notes on bottom. Okay. And what I hear so often from students is, so what's the formula? Give me the formula and I'll learn it all the keys. But it doesn't work like that, because you need the melody note on top, the bass note on the bottom, and those obviously move depending where you are in the tune. And one of the things that we want to do is avoid doublings. And so, based on what the melody note is, your voicing underneath is going to be different, because we don't want to double whatever note is on top. So this isn't the kind of thing where I could tell you, okay, 3, 7, 9, 5, great, and learn that in every key. It's just not. And so I wrote these rules here, which are really, really good, I think. I'm very proud of them. And I'll walk you through some of them. So the first one says, at the outset, at least, we're going to create 5 note voicings: the melody and the bass, right? Then it says every chord needs a third and seventh. For 6 chords, the 6th replaces the 7th. For sus chords, the 4th replaces the 3rd. Then it says complete the 5-note chord with color tones like the 5th and 9th. The 13th is a good color note for major and dominants. The 11th is a good color note for minor 7ths. Then it says there's no doubling, but there's 3 exceptions. And it says avoid minor 9ths. So a lot of rules. And I think all these rules are accurate and necessary. And as like a theory person, I'm like, this is good. And I think it is. But for people learning, it's very hard to actually deploy all these rules. And especially if you're trying to come up with voicings in real time, it's really difficult. So I've been faced with some students who really want to get good at these voicings and are struggling with it. And so one of the ways that we got around this problem was to start simply with 4-note voicings. Okay, and it's a little bit counterintuitive. Because what we're trying to do is get big, rich voicings for these ballads, right? I'm like realizing mid-sentence that I've like had so much coffee and I'm talking really fast. So I'm going to try to slow myself down. We'll see. Cool. So it's counterintuitive. We want to form big, rich voicings. But a nice way to start is with 4-note voicings. And here I've got this little chart for easy to love, and I want to show you what I mean. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the 4-voice scheme is such an important one in musical history, right? We think soprano, alto, tenor, bass, 4 voices in the choir, right? And Bach, I think you could probably find some 5 and 6 voice fugues if you look pretty hard, but in general, 4 voices is about as much as he goes in terms of fugues. I'm sure there's going to be some real Baroque scholars who correct me. But here, what I want to do with 4 voices is have the melody, of course, on top, the soprano, the bass, of course, on bottom, the bass, and then our 2 middle voices. And to begin, I would suggest that we use our 2 middle voices for the 3rds and 7ths of the chord. Okay? And this is going to basically form our skeleton that then we're going to fill in more. So, for instance, on Easy to Love here, let's see, I might put my bass down here. The lower the bass, the richer the chord, and then I'll fill in with my 3rd and 7th, right? So this is the D minor 7, then the G minor 7, the root's going to go down here. And now I'm thinking about it in four voices, so these have to move smoothly. They're not separate chords. They're not jumping around, right? So it is very important to watch for that horizontal voice leading. Back to these notes for D minor, and then we get to G7, and we'll use it. So let me play this for you. Let's do one more line because there are only really two different chords there. So we've got C major 7. I think I can reach all the way down there. If you can't reach a 10th, don't stress about it. Just play that bass note a little bit before and glide up to the upper note. Use the pedal to connect. All right, so you can see that there's strong connections going on. I've got my 7th and my 3rd of the F7. We go to E minor. We can still form really nice connections. It's starting to get a little bit low, but I think we can go down one more time. Actually, no, we can't, because this melody note is too high, right? This is the exact kind of thing I was talking about. This G would love to go down here, but if we're truly going to play two notes in each hand, we can't do that. We could move the G down there. That's the solution I'm going to come up with for now. So we are going to move the G to the left hand. So notice in general, other than that last chord, which is our exception here, because that very high melody note, we're keeping two notes in the treble clef, and I do want to play two notes with the right hand, two notes in the bass clef, two notes with the left hand. So let's play this whole passage. Sounds like this. So I ran into a problem that I didn't anticipate, which is that this starts really becoming a problem. I could make that work, but maybe this is a good sign that actually we should take a different strategy here. Let's jump right here. That stem should really be going up. And then those will move smoothly. And then am I going to be able to grab something that moves smoothly here? What a pickle. This is why I should prepare before videos, I guess. Well, even though it involves jumping again, I think my favorite solution is going to be playing an octave in the right hand. Right? We can't always have smooth voice leading. Sometimes the melody just changes too much to allow for smooth voice. So let's try take 2. That's pretty good. I think that works really nicely. So the good news is that this sort of thing you can actually do if you need to without writing it out, right? Because it's actually a pretty simple formula. You've got your 3rd and your 7th in the middle. You've got your melody on top, and you're putting your root in the bass. Obviously, you're going to run into some issues, especially with a melody that leaps as much as this one. So, I could, for instance, just improvise, and I'll let you see what I'm playing here. Starting in measure 9, right? I've still got root, 7, 3. So there aren't really that many calculations to do here. You're playing the root, you're playing the 3rd, you're playing the 7th. Now, where this gets fun, where this can lead to those bigger, richer voicings, is that once you've mastered this, once you feel really comfortable, you can fill in the color tones around this kind of skeletal structure. So for instance, maybe, and here what I'm doing is I'm looking and I'm thinking, what's missing? Like, what color tones could I add that aren't here already? So the one that pops into mind here is the ninth. So maybe I'm gonna make a 5-note voicing, adding the ninth to the minor seventh. Right, the ninth also isn't in this one. It's the fifth is the melody for both of these. So I want to put the ninth here. And you definitely have to listen for whether it's going to be too low in the range. But in general, you can kind of fit whatever you want. If you want to be really colorful, you could add in the 11th here. It's not my favorite sound, personally. It sounds very sussy to me. Okay, here we could add the 5th, certainly. Maybe we also could add the 11th here. And then we got a dominant chord. We could add all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to add a flat 9 and a flat 13. E flat and A flat. There's no particular reason that I switched from blue to red, in case you're wondering. I just forgot. So now, if we check this out, cool, I'm noticing there's an A natural later in this measure, so it's a little awkward. I might want to switch in the middle of that measure. Right, same thing as I get to measure 5. I'm going to add in a D, the 9th here. I'm going to add, let's see. I guess I'll put a flat 9 in here. I know I'm being boring. I'm just adding the 9th everywhere. Here I can add the 5th. I might add like a flat 5 or something interesting down there. Let's analyze this measure a little bit more, because it's an interesting moment. Because I got the 3rd and 7th, but I don't really need this 7th so much when it's already in the melody. So this is a moment in which I might alter this skeleton. And maybe I'll play something like... so here, I'm not going to double the 7th. I'm playing the root, the flat 5, or sharp 11, whichever you prefer, the flat 13, and the flat 9. Okay, so in moments where you are doubling, where the 3rd or 7th is in the melody, would be another way to say it, you can have a little bit of wiggle room and avoid that doubling. So this is the new way that I'm recommending for students to practice these shared hands voicings. As much as I think they should understand, all of that text that we saw in my playing solo jazz piano text, which, obviously I highly recommend that everybody buy for Christmas. As great as all this is and as true as it is, it's maybe not the best place to start. I think the best place to start might be just really simple 4-note voicings, getting used to playing the melody, the bass, and the essential tones, and then adding around that. So that is my very humble confession that I'm certainly totally still learning and always changing my teaching, trying to get better. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, you probably love the book, Playing Solo Jazz Piano, even though I'm, flipping my mindset a little bit. And why don't you use the word mindset in the comments if you've made it this far. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.